Hello,
Hey.
hello.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, how can you hear me pretty well?
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. I'll go ahead and throw up screen
So,
share. Doing alright?
yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I'm well. Where are you in the world currently? I know you were traveling around a few places.
I'm home in Israel.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
You were studying over in Germany?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm going back to Germany like Saturday.
Oh wow.
So
Just home visiting family a little bit.
yeah.
Nice. Always good to get back. Can you so if you open up Discord, you should be able to see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Sweet. Alright.
Actually, like after this match or something, I don't know. I played a couple of games of Jarvan,
Yeah.
and then I shouldn't play Jarvan.
I wouldn't say that. I thought your Jarvan was pretty well.
I don't know. Like this match was good, but like every other match with Jarvan was bad.
Okay. Um,
Like,
so I definitely saw um, a few areas, and it might not just be Jarvan, or this might not really just to Jarvan itself, but just
yeah, I know.
jungling as a whole. That would have had a nice impact on this game and maybe some other games that you played. And so the three things that I'm going to try to keep returning to. One is, have you ever watched the Leaguecraft 101 series?
I did, but like a long time ago, and I forgot everything.
Okay.
I
So
I didn't. I just watched them, and I didn't take action at all, like in doing everything what he said.
it's a lot, yeah. So he has a short little. He goes over jungle in one or two of his videos, and he comes up with this nice little chart called the jungle priority chart, which I think does. I don't think you have to live by this chart, but I think it does a great job of helping you think through some of the decisions that you make.
Just shut up.
So can you see the chart up on my screen?
Yeah. I actually wrote this chart down
Okay.
on a notepad, and I wanted to follow everything, but like I can see like counter ganking. Try to improve my counter ganking actually when I saw this chart,
So
because
go ahead.
it's number one priority. So I try to improve it, and yeah, I don't know. I just forgot everything now. I'm trying to improve my tracking of the enemy jungler.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely look at that as we go through the replay. And so I just kind of want to touch on. I'll kind of come back to this chart a few times. So the way he kind of talks about it is, so power clearing is kind of your baseline behavior. Like when nothing else is going on, you're always power clearing. But if there's ever an opportunity to do anything else of higher priority, then you're looking to do that instead. So we'll return to that as we go through the replay. And then I want to touch on vision control a little bit. And then the biggest one is I just want to talk about like win condition. So your team's win conditions, your own win conditions, because in solo queue, you're the only one you can control. So sometimes it's good to get an understanding of how your team wants to win, and then kind of taking a microscope to what you want to do to give your team the biggest chance of winning. And then so then also kind of looking at your team fight win conditions. So those are the three things that I want to focus on that I feel like would have the biggest impact, and then we'll look at some other minor things as we go through the replay. So I like to always start with just kind of looking at both of the teams' compositions, just getting a general idea of what each team has, what they want to do, who scales, who wants to team fight, who wants to split push. So when you were getting into the game, or even just right now, is there anything on your team that kind of jumps out to you?
Like on my team?
Yeah, as far as your team's strengths or your team's weaknesses.
And like we have an engager, so two engagers actually, so that's good. You can see that. And is like Jarvan a follow-up or an engager?
He can be either. Definitely has the potential to engage, and he has, definitely has the potential to follow up as well, especially like with Malphite flying in. If you think about Malphite ulting and then you following up, that seems like a perfectly good scenario. And then vice versa, say you lock up a few people in Jarvan's ult, and then Malphite has an easy target to follow up with. So definitely can fill either role.
Yeah. Maybe like we also don't have we have two tankers, yeah, but like we don't have a support to protect like the AD carry.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So they have Nami. We don't. We have Lux. So Lux is gonna probably be looking to take kills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe autofilled or something.
So some of the thoughts I had, I kind of just go, when I'm like starting a VOD review, I'll just kind of go through each champion and just kind of put some thoughts down, just to get a general idea. So Malphite isn't picked for the laning phase, although he can handle himself pretty well. He's picked for the massive playmaking potential that he can have with his ultimate. And you don't need to look to get... Malphite's not looking to necessarily get ahead in lane. He's just looking to get 1 or 2 tank items and then show up to team fights.
Yeah.
Jarvan brings super strong initiation to the team as well. Pretty strong early gank potential. Has the versatility to build either tank or damage. And similar to Malphite, doesn't need a large lead to be able to have an impact. Can really always set up a fight for his team. For Akali, mobile assassin, but needs to get to level 6 before she can really, when she gains access to that mobility, and can really begin to have an impact. Akali wants to be ahead of the enemy team, if not even. Akali behind is going to be a little useless. And then looking at MF and Lux in the bot lane, a lot of poke. MF can have a pretty strong laning phase, and if Lux can land some stuns, can definitely pick up some kills. And so when I was looking at all that together, the biggest thing that stood out to me was like the massive amount of like wombo combos that you guys could pull off. Like,
yeah, exactly. I could see that we won the fight early, but like we did lots of mistakes in the late game.
Yeah, any fight where like Malphite started it, you followed up, MF and Lux fire their ult down the middle of your ult, and then Akali's there to clean up. That's kind of what your team's looking to do. Like, for the enemy team, if you get the advantageous like initiation, it's gonna be very hard for them to not just get one shot and be able to like turn that fight around.
Yeah.
So then just looking at the enemy team a little bit, Jack's top lane. I always look at Jax as just like he has some power early game, but his main power is scaling to the late game and either being an unstoppable split pusher or going a more tanky route and looking to have an impact in team fights. Olaf, some strong dueling power as well as early game potential. Really shines when you can get into the back line and cut down your squishy immobile targets. So when he can just ignore Malphite ult and get onto MF and Lux who don't have any mobility and just cut them down. Echo is pretty strong, can have a big impact in team fights, can punish immobile targets as well. And then Tristana, Nami, pretty strong laning phase. Should be able to sustain through some of MF's and Lux's poke. Scale pretty well into the mid and late game. So the biggest thing I noticed from the enemy team is the amount of ways they can get into your backline and then punish your squishy carries. Akali's a little slippery, but especially MF and Lux, who are very squishy and don't have many ways to get away besides flash. Like Echo's very good at sticking to targets, so is Olaf, and Jax can jump into the back line and with his counter strike and stun everyone up. So that's kind of my initial analysis of the two teams. Your team has a very strong wombo combo team fight engage, but you have to be wary of the enemy team's ability to get into your backline, because if they blow up MF and Lux and the enemy team's not low enough for Akali to clean up, like you and Malphite are gonna have a hard time like finishing off even if they are low health, like finishing them off just from, unless you're like full AD, you're mainly relying on MF and Lux to bring a lot of damage. So that's kind of, so then looking at turning that into, so I take those like initial analysis of the teams and then I try to look to, alright, so what do we want to do to win the game? And initial thoughts are, like you or Malphite, you're looking to get to skirmishes or team fights where you can take advantage of your wombo combos using your engage or Malphite's engage. And for you yourself, in my eyes, your priority is to help your team get through the laning phase even, if not ahead, and then help set your team up for advantageous team fights where your enemy team can follow up. And so maybe I'm looking at you to be more of the, you could follow up Malphite, but you could also take charge and be the one understanding when your team's in an advantageous position and helping your team start off that fight right then. And then just looking at getting a general idea of, because early game is very important as a jungler. Like the first few decisions you make can have, a large impact. Being at the right place at the right time can shut down like a laner and the jungler at the right time, or it's impossible for the enemy jungler to shut down one of your laners very early on. So you're not really looking to play around top side. While shutting down Jax early would be great. You're always looking to shut down like late games split pushers or scalers like Nasus. While that is a possibility, Malphite, like we were saying earlier, really just wants to get 1 or 2 tank items and show up the team fights. Even if Jax was to get some items and kind of scale up a little bit, I feel like your team's just such powerful initiation. Even if Jax was split pushing off somewhere, you could easily initiate a fight on the other 4 members and not even have to worry about Jax. So you could really spend a lot of your time helping mid and bot, especially.
Yeah.
Macaulay's going to struggle into Echo a little bit early on, and you need Lux and MF to be even, if not ahead, to bring, because you're relying a lot on their damage. And so, before I'm even starting to replay, those are kind of the thoughts that are going into my mind of, alright, so that's what we need to be doing here to help our team get where we need to be. These guys start hopping in. So, let's get that a little bit. You started topside here. Was there any particular reason why you wanted to start topside?
I was looking like on Mobalytics. You know, they have this feature, the pre-game.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
And I saw that like I had a good gang potential for bot lane.
Okay. So you want to
And
stop
since
top?
I'm playing Jarvan, what?
I was just gonna say, so you started top side so you could end up down bot side.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you didn't want me to start outside.
Oh no, I was just curious as to your thoughts of why you wanted to start top side.
Like I said, I'm still learning what like lanes to gank and.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mobalytics. You know, there's definitely. So Jarvan definitely has early gank potential. With, you know, he just needs his level 2, you know, his EQ combo, the flag and drag, and if Lux can hit her stun, I think it's like a 1.5, if not 2 second stun. Definitely have some room to get a gank. You know, and so starting top side so you can end down bot side is perfectly fine. Something you can do with Jarvan though, you could start, and not that this was the right thing to do and starting top side wasn't, but this is just another option. You can start red buff and get level 2 off red buff, and you'll still have access to your EQ combo, as well as red buff, which is brings a lot more power to your ganks. And then you could have, you know, got a leash from bot side, got a super quick level 2, and then just come in this bush, come over here, and look for, you know, it's kind of like a cheesy gank.
You know, like I feel like in low elo, also me, like like red buff is underrated.
Absolutely, it's very strong.
It's very strong, but like sometimes I feel like it doesn't do anything, but it does. It actually does. I heard lots of higher elo players talking about red buff and why it's important, and it's like it's underrated.
Absolutely,
I underrated myself.
yeah, so it gives you health regen. So blue buff gives you mana regen, red buff gives you health regen, and it also makes sure auto attacks apply a slow, which is the really big part for the ganks. It's basically like having, you know, AP mages can build Rylai's. So it's basically like a Rylai's for your auto attacks, or like having like frozen mallet. That's the one I was looking for. It's basically like having a frozen mallet. So every time you auto attack them, you apply a slow, which can be very powerful, especially at these low levels where, you know, so right here you'd already be, you would have had red buff already cleared, and you'd be heading towards this bush, ready to head over here, and you know, Tristana. The problem with ganking Tristana, if she's good later on, is she has her rocket jump, which allows her to get out of some ganks. But she would not have access to her rocket jump here, so at the minimum, you would have the potential to burn flash. If Lux was able to land her kill, or her stun, possibly even a kill. So that was just possible opportunity. Not that that was the right play and starting top wasn't. But you know, and
Yeah,
part
like
of this
it's a
is
better
luck.
play.
But bot side does end up getting into like a small little skirmish a few seconds in, right here.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of those things. There's a guy, do you know Apto or Dopa? Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
I was reading through. He did a translation. He did kind of like a Q&A session, and someone translated it. I was reading through some of it on Reddit, and he was talking about how League actually has a lot of luck to it. You know, like, you can't really predict that your bot lane's going to end up in this situation. You know, there's no way to tell that this is how it's going to play out. And so you had no way to know that you needed to start red side. So this is one of those things that's slightly out of your control. You know, if you started red buff, could you have possibly been there to turn around? Possibly, but there's no way to tell. So you're close to getting down there to help them. Level 3, just go to grab Scuttle Crab instead, which is perfectly fine. So right here, go for this gank on Echo. Which is good, like, so... Right here we see Akali, like, getting poked down pretty low. And we gotta remember that part of our win conditions is just helping Akali get to level 6, where she can begin to hold her own a little more. So just applying some pressure onto Echo, giving some room to Akali to let her farm, is like just pushing him off right here. You can consider this a successful gank, especially getting this poke off on him. Like right here, you can consider that completely successful. You know, yeah, you didn't get the kill, and Akali does go a little ham here, but just clearing that room for Akali is really good for you. And this good little, almost pick up the kill on Olaf. Akali barely gets out.
Yeah.
And so right here, in a second. So we're back on top side. Oh yeah, I want to turn on Fog of War. So right after we get that gank on Echo, we show up here on Gromp. If you look up top side, Jax is, that's 300 health, yeah, and Malphite, you know, he's not level 6, he's not going to have his ultimate, but his slow with his Q is still pretty good at slowing ganks. And you know, not that we need to shut down Jax, but it's still something that could be beneficial. So it's, you know, you grab Gromp, which is perfectly fine, but possible opportunity to get up top side and look to pressure Jax, especially right here. And you do start heading up right here. And so you did have a ward right there. Before I turned off Fog of War. So right about here, when Malphite backs off, you can probably go ahead and look to back off.
Yeah.
Anytime you have to go for like a flash like that, especially if you knew his flash was down, I think this was perfectly fine. But when you have to flash and their flash is still up, you might be stretching a little too far, especially if you're flashing under their turret.
Yeah.
You know, not bad because you were able to get out alive and you burn his flash. But not completely necessary, and you had to burn 2 flashes for 1, so kind of a negative trade, but not bad by any means. Doesn't completely hurt Malphite or you.
Yeah.
So a big thing I think a lot of junglers run into is like trying to force things a little too hard.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, couple of weeks ago, I don't know. I realized I was always
Okay.
forcing myself to gank. Like this is like the jungle's job to
Mm-hmm.
gank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I told myself like I don't have to gank only when it's possible,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to work on that. Like almost every time I play on autopilot. So
And we go back, maybe look at this party chart real quick. Um,
yeah,
ganking is not, as you were talking about earlier, like ganking isn't, or while ganking is a pretty high priority, it's not the highest priority, and there's also other things you can do to build your advantage. And so, that's something I had to learn as a jungler as well. Is like, like ganking is such like it's like a hot topic for like junglers. Like, why aren't you ganking? Oh, I need to gank. Like it's so focused around ganking. But if you go and watch pro play, ganks very
I
rarely
watched
happen.
I could see that. Even like I watched a game for Peanut and he was playing Lee Sin.
Okay.
So, since Lee Sin is my favorite champ, but he's like the hardest, so I don't play him much.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot of fun. I think a lot of people. He definitely has like. He definitely has some like high mechanics and a very high there's a lot of room for people to get better at him. Don't let the mechanics. You kind of have to decide for yourself if the mechanic, like if you are confident on Lee Sin and you enjoy playing him and you're able to play well on him, then I don't think there's anything wrong with playing him. Especially if you enjoy it and it makes the game more fun for you, then absolutely. But if you find that the mechanics are hindering you or making the game more frustrating because like you're not able to pull off the mechanics, then you have some, then you can look to either put some more practice into the mechanics or look to try out some different champions.
Yeah.
But don't let the mechanics just scare you off immediately. A lot of people.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I just hear a lot like it's hard to play Lee Sin, and he's not possible to climb with even if you play him a lot. I hear that a lot. I enjoy him actually. Last season I played 125 matches in him,
Okay.
and I had a 51 or 52% win rate with
That's
him.
awesome. That's really good.
And right now I have like my OP.GG is here. I have Shyvana 18 games, and that's 67% win rate.
God damn.
And Lee Sin 12 games, and it's 67% win rate.
That's amazing. Those are really good win rates. Anything
Yeah,
over
but, like,
51, you're gonna climb.
But like Jarvan is 6 games, 17% win rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so here I wanted to point out this part. So right here we see Olaf over here. Just a second, right there.
Yeah.
So we see Olaf coming from here, so you can assume he was grabbing Gromp and he's heading up to Wolves.
Yeah.
So he has a few possibilities. You can grab Wolves, and you can go. It's unlikely for him to come back down bot side because MF's backing, so there's not really a lot for him to do over here besides maybe Dragon. But you can assume he's going to go Wolves and possibly up to Raptors. And with top side, so you talk about counter ganking and trying to track junglers. So this is kind of the thought process you have to go through. Someone, I think it was Lux, got this Poro, or Ghost Poro ward up here, which allowed you to see Olaf crossing up through here. And with just that little information, what can we figure out? We see Wolves up on the map. Okay, well, he can grab Wolves. Okay, he could possibly come back down bot side. Bot's backing, so that's unlikely. He could possibly grab Drag. Malphite just killed Jax, so it's unlikely he's gonna look for a gank there. You can probably grab Raptors, or you could possibly look for a gank mid. And so with like that little information, yeah, that's kind of what you're trying to do when you're tracking the jungler with, you know, one ward. What can you figure out from Olaf's next move? And so for you, you can likely assume that Olaf is clearing wolves and heading to his Raptors, if not ganking mid. So this is somewhere
Gunboot, like took a dragon or something.
Yeah, you could possibly be taking dragon. And so what you could do is you could come out here and you could look to come up into this area right here and just look to see if Olaf is here. And if he's not, you can steal Raptors. And if he is, you've now located him for your team. And I think that's something, if you watch like an LCS game, they talk a lot. There's a LCK caster, Pop Smithy, who I really like. He uses this term battle warding, where, and Peanut does this a lot. I'm sure you saw it in that Lee Sin video you watched with him.
Like, I have a question like about, is watching LCS, does it make you improve or no?
I would say it's not directly correlated. Are there some things you can learn? Absolutely, you know.
Like LS is making Vod-Reviews about LCS games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are they better to watch than the LCS game itself, or?
So I would say it's not that one's better than the other. I think there's things to take away from both.
Yeah.
I like, so watching like a VOD review of like a professional game, you're not gonna learn maybe anything about like particular champions, but
or like particular lane or something.
Yeah, like, but you might learn about how a lane can play out. And I think the biggest thing is like some macro, like, okay, what is the enemy team doing? I like watching, sometimes when I'm watching, because I just like watching LCS because I enjoy it, but sometimes I like watching just like the mini-map, you know, because you can only see, you know, what the camera's showing, but if you watch the mini-map, like,
yeah,
it's kind of like watching like the whole chessboard. Like, you see, like you'll see Lux's portrait come up here, or she'll walk up this way and meet up with her jungler here, and then they go together and get a ward in this spot, and then they clear vision here, and then they go for a gank. And it's just interesting to see kind of the strategies / like the tactics that they use, like macro wise, like how do they, what are they doing to build an advantage? And again, like, you're not just gonna,
as a team,
you know, you don't just
like,
watch. Sorry, go ahead.
What I meant to say is like they're doing everything because they're playing as a team.
Yeah.
Here, like in solo queue, it's about the team, but like you have to focus on yourself only, not the team.
You know, and that's a big thing. Like, you're not going to directly correlate what this professional team is doing into your game, but
exactly.
you have some, you're gaining some like game knowledge and some, like, you know, I just enjoy watching these things and learning about these things because I enjoy the game. You know, and then you kind of just add that into your tool belt of like knowledge, like, okay, this is something that can happen. These champions are capable of this. And, you know, if you're watching a VOD review, you know, someone's typically there. I don't know if you watch like LS at all. But, you know, he's there, he's talking about the game, and he'll add his own insight. And so there's things to pick up about that. And then, like, if you're watching a game of LCS, you know, the casters are there talking about the particular champions, the particular matchups, what items are strong, you know. So there are things to pick up, but, you know, you don't just like watch a game and then suddenly improve.
Yeah, I know.
But there's definitely knowledge to be gained and things to learn. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not. You don't have to do that. That's just one particular way. I've been watching more like champion VODs. Like you just said, like you watch Peanut play Lee Sin. I think those are super helpful. It's like, especially, you can find a game that kind of fits the situation that you faced. Like, okay, what did Peanut do when he got ahead on Lee Sin? How did he snowball the game to victory? Okay, he got behind. What did Peanut do when he got behind on Lee Sin? So, I think those are super helpful as well.
Yeah.
So
The thing is, like, when like YouTube channels post replays for pro players, they only post the games that they won and they did really good. Right?
Not most of the time, absolutely. But you can definitely, you might not find like maybe a pro, like, but you may find like a challenger player who has a video of like him behind on Lee Sin or something like that.
Yeah.
And it might not be, if there's one thing you can take away from that video, then, maybe it was worth watching.
Yeah.
You're like, what does this guy do? Maybe, in League, things are rarely like black and white. Like, this is the one thing, the only thing that you can do. Like, there's typically a plethora of options that you can choose in certain situations. It's like, okay, so what was this one challenger's approach to playing behind Lee Sin? And then you compare that to Peanut's approach to it, and then you kind of put those together, and then take your approach, and intertwine these three approaches into something of your own. And then you go into a game, and okay, maybe you try the challenger's approach, see how that goes, take some notes. Sorry about my dog being loud.
No problem.
And then maybe next game you try Peanut's approach, and you see how that goes, and then you take the parts from each approach that you liked,
Yeah.
and kind of make your own version of it. So here, let's look at this one part coming up. So if we just go back a little bit. Oh, 1 second. Sometimes replay thing works, sometimes it doesn't. Alright, so this is where we just saw Olaf heading from Gromp up to Wolves and either Dragon or Blue side.
Yeah.
And so we go from Wolves and we start heading down bot side. And so I like this. I like this pink ward that you drop up here if my camera would let me move, which I don't know why it's not. And so right here. So did you see Olaf pass through that ward? Do you remember if you saw it?
I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, it was a long time ago. So it kind of looks like you're possibly coming over here looking to protect drag and get a deep ward into his jungle. I really like that pink ward that you dropped. That's a great place to do it. And so as you're doing that,
I usually do it like here or on top of the red buff, like,
this one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And so right here we see Malphite spot Olaf, less than half health. So you know now that you're pretty safe to. Okay, why is my screen not letting me drag? That's weird. That's bizarre. So you see Malphite push Olaf off. And so now that we see that, and we see Tristana go in right here, we know that there's no risk of Olaf counter ganking us. And so this is completely safe to go for, and the bot lane's overextended. And so this was a really strong turning point. It was a super good gank. I think I need to close out the replay and come back in.
how are you able to watch the replay even in 8.1?
So it's not So I sent you that video to find the folder or finder replays. It's kind of a similar process. There's like, so if I tab out, bring this over, you go, like whatever drive you have League installed in, and there's this Riot Games folder. Go in, and you just gotta follow this weird path. It's RADs, solutions, this one, here, here. And so there's this exe, and you create a shortcut of it. So I'm pretty sure if you launch this one, that's like the actual game. And so you create a shortcut of it, and then you can just drag and drop the replays, and it loads out the replay. The only thing that's a little weird about it is that folder gets updated every time there's a new patch out. So on my desktop right now, before I updated to patch 8.2, because this game was on 8.1, I kind of just copied that folder and kept it so I could still be able to watch a replay.
Oh yeah.
Alright, well, let me move. Alright, not what I wanted. So Balian had already picked up 2 kills, although he had gone down early. So getting this fight right here, especially seeing that they've been fighting so much, helping your bot lane get that advantage, especially because you're relying on MF and Lux a lot for damage, and especially what happens right here. This is well played by everyone. So right here, when I saw that happen, I'm like, alright, this game's done. Like, you guys won.
Yeah, like I thought the same. What happened at the end was like I went crazy.
Yeah, so we'll definitely look at that as well. So all that was super good. And that was, that's another situation of luck. Like, you came down bot side, got a nice ward up here, and right as you got around here, it just so happened that Tristana decided to go aggro, and you were there to punish her mistake. And so that's half luck, but then, you could have also predicted it a little bit, because 4 kills had already happened bot side. So you can kind of get the idea that, okay, this bot lane's playing a little aggressive, as well as the fact that if we go back to our win conditions, we don't necessarily need to be playing around top side. We're kind of looking to focus around mid and bot. And, so we saw, as we placed this pink ward, we saw Olaf up here. And so we had 2 options at that point. Oh, not just 2, we had a plethora of options. We could be thinking, okay, Olaf has the possibility to gank either mid or bot, and so we could be looking if we need to possibly perform a counter gank, or bot lane's overextended, we can look for a possible gank there, or we can steal Olaf's blue buff that had just come up. Yeah. So spotting the enemy jungler provides a lot of benefit for your team, and then it's up to you to make the decision accordingly, and that can kind of come back to the priority chart / looking at the minimap and figuring out what's going on. And so a note I had here is Malphite took down Jax early on. Let's switch these on. Akali's 3-1, Echo's 0-2, MS 5-1. Our laners have gotten pretty far ahead on their own. We need to. So our initial win conditions were to help our laners get ahead / stay even. So now, now that they're ahead, we can switch our mindset a little bit and our gameplay into making sure, basically just becoming their support, helping them stay safe and helping them push their advantage. And so we know that our laners have been able to win their lanes on their own, so now we just need to make sure that Olaf isn't able to affect our lanes and turn it around back into his team's favor.
Yeah.
So this is where that battle warding comes in a little bit, and by that you're basically acting like a ward, like battle warding, you're basically acting like a ward that can fight. You want to find which side Olaf is on, and now that your team has the advantage, you have 4 assists, Olaf's died twice, you can assume you're in a pretty strong spot. You can kind of just walk, as long as your lanes have some pressure, you can kind of walk into his jungle and just find him. Like, by finding him, okay, you and your team both now know what side of the map he's on, and you can dissuade him from having any effect on the lanes. So right here, let's see. So right here, by that pink ward you placed, we see Olaf heading down to likely his blue buff that had just come up. So, going back to the win conditions, we're not really looking to play around top side, and we just saw Olaf on bot side, and he's the one we're looking to make sure he doesn't have an impact on our lanes. So I think the second we saw him, we finish up Gromp, and then we immediately head down to our red buff. If not, just straight down to bot lane to make sure everything's okay. So bot lane picks up a kill. So right here, in my mind, I'd be heading down bot side, especially because we saw Olaf down there, and our bot lane was just building advantage. See, now our laners are just completely popping off.
Yeah.
And so, it's perfectly fine. Like, it's not that power farming is wrong here. You're not necessarily falling behind because you're power farming, but there's opportunities for you to get more value out of your time. If you left Gromp and immediately came down, the second you saw bot lane pick up a kill, you could possibly grab Infernal Drag, or you could be helping your bot lane secure bot tower. You could get up into Olaf's jungle and steal away some camps, and all of those things are higher up on the priority chart. And the reason they're higher up is because they're giving you more value for your time. Power farming is giving you the golden XP from the camp. But
like,
if you go,
it's better to make the enemy weaker than to be stronger.
yeah,
yourself.
absolutely. And so, if you go and counter jungle, not only are you getting the same XP and gold from the camp you would get on your side, but you're also denying it from the enemy team. And so that's why it's a little bit higher up on the priority chart. And so, so here you're going for a full power clear. But if you would have come down straight from Gromp after you saw Olaf bot side, you would have been here the second bot lane picked up that kill, and you could immediately swing on the drag. But because there's a little bit of a delay, this ends up turning into a little bit of a fight. And so now that you've started, bot lane's already had time to come back. You do end up securing it. See that big wombo combo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing, and so it's not necessarily bad. Ends up being, picks up that one kill. Oh, misses the Q. Ends up being 3 for 2 and you got Infernal Jag. But it does give the enemy team some gold. You know, now Echo's 3 and 3. Tristana picked up another kill. And it just gave them a little more gold that you didn't necessarily have to give up. You know, at that situation, after, you know, Botling got the bot turret and Akali picked up a kill mid, you could have easily just warded up drag. You could have grabbed Scuttle Crab and you could have come back to this at any point.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think just taking it a little bit slower. And then, you know, even I do this. Like, I'll get a lead, and especially in solo queue, I feel a lot of pressure to make things happen when I have a lead.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, okay, if I don't win the game right now, they're gonna come back, or I'm not gonna be able to close out the game. And so just understanding, like, because, like, your team's win conditions are the skirmishes and team fights with Malphite. Like, you don't need to rush to, like, pick up that dragon. Like, nothing's gonna happen if you just ward up that dragon and come back to it later. And especially if you come ready for, like, a team fight, you know, that's where your team's the strongest. Alright, so let's go back a little bit. So right when you spawn, so I wrote a note here. As you leave the base right here, now would be a good time to reassess the current situation and update your game plan / win conditions accordingly. And so, let me bring this up. Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that I see in, like, when I'm doing VOD reviews or even in my games myself, like, the power of win conditions is ridiculous. Like, it helps so much in your decision making. And so you come into the game with a baseline of knowledge and you come up with, like, some baseline win conditions, and then as the game goes on, you look to update your win conditions / game plan based on, you know, the events that have happened up until this point. So, you know, just looking at the scoreboard and what has gone on in the game. Jeez. Somehow Malphite has shut down Jax completely. 3-0, Jax is 0-4.
Yeah.
You know, you can't see the gold lead, but 700 gold lead. You're 115 while Olaf's 032, so you're in a better place. Kali and Echo are both going to be relatively strong. So that's just something you have to keep in mind. Akali is going to be able to definitely have an impact on the game, but Echo is definitely going to bring some power as well. Bot lane, after some early deaths, we're able to turn the lane around. Although, yeah, now she's got a 1.3. MF's got a 1.3k lead over Tristana, and Lux, let's see. Still a little behind on items, but MF has Yomu's and a serrated Dirk, and Tristana only has a BF sword. Akali has completed Hextech Gunblade. Echo only has completed Frost Queens. So, looking back at, like, our original win conditions of, okay, we want to get to skirmishes and team fights. We need our bot side of the map, Akali, MF, and Lux to be in a relatively strong place to be able to bring the damage we need to our team fights. And so, according to that, everything's looking pretty good right now. We were able to make it to the laning phase, and as a bonus, we have an advantage in pretty much all of our lanes. So now we want to move to the next part of our game plan. We helped our team get through the laning phase even or ahead. Now we're looking to set up our team for the skirmishes and team fights, where we can take up, or where we can take advantage of your wombo combos.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of jotted down some ways we could look to do this. Sip of water. And so these are some of the things that maybe you'd see in like the Peanut Vod-Review, or you'd see in an LCS game. Like, okay, okay, we want to set up skirmishes or team fights. How do we do this? So some of the things I thought we could look to do. So with the right, so we got down bot turret, and with the right vision control, you could have your bot lane push up to this tier 2 turret. So in order to do that, they need the right support to make sure Echo isn't collapsing down and Olaf isn't collapsing down. And that's where we can come in. We already have this pink ward here. You know, we could get, something I did, a small thing I wanted to touch on, is you went for red smite, which is fine. You know, if you get up into Olaf's face, you use that red smite to bully him out, that's perfectly fine. I pretty much take green smite every single game because I feel like if I don't have green smite, no one else puts wards down. So I love and you still have your yellow trinket, which we could put down.
Maybe that's why I like Lee Sin, because of the green smite.
Being able to ward
I pick up
around.
green smite all the time.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But if we want our bot lane to be able to push up to this tier 2, we need to be in the river, we need to be up here, we at least have vision up here and make sure that they're safe to do that. And what we're doing is because our bot lane has an advantage, we can push the enemy bot lane to their turret and force them to, they either have to be here to get the minions, or they're going to lose them, fall farther behind. And while they're farming those minions here, we can have our bot lane rotate over to mid lane and look to siege down mid turret. And we can simply repeat that process until we have mid turret down. You come over here, get maybe half the health on it. Okay, by that time, the enemy bot lane pushed out, and now they've rotated over. All we have to do is have our bot lane come back down here, push out the wave again, and then rotate over. And the only thing we need to do is make sure we have proper vision control through here, and they're not going to get picked off as they're rotating. So that's one strategy that's available, and there's hundreds. And so another one, we could set up vision. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can do something about that. The loudest bark in the world.
It's fine.
He's the biggest scaredy cat, but he's got the loudest bark. That's how it goes.
I'm more of a cat person. So.
Okay. He's like a 1-year-old golden retriever. So, second thing we could do to help our team get to skirmishes and team fights is we have a pretty big advantage topside. We could look to set up vision control around the top side of the map and look to get Rift Herald. And this works out two ways. Either one, we just get Rift Herald, and that can allow us to knock down either mid turret or top turret. And the reason, besides the goal that knocking down turrets can be so beneficial is it allows you easier access into the enemy jungle, which you can then start setting up deeper vision control. You can start taking away enemy jungle camps, and you can start looking for like some picks and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we come down, we knock down mid turret. Now we can pretty much get up all in Olaf's blue side jungle and deny him of this whole side of the map. And so then you now have 3 quadrants of the map to farm. Or if they show up to Rift Herald to contest it, then that's when you and your team can look for a skirmish, especially, so MF and Lux would probably be pushing bot side, so it'd be a 3-on-3 with you, Malphite and Akali versus Olaf, Echo, and Jax. And with the current state of the game, you'd likely be able to win that skirmish pretty easily. You could pick off one target with Malphite ult, and Akali would clean them up relatively easy. So that's the other thing, second thing we could do. Third thing, we can look to start pressuring Olaf in his jungle and making sure he cannot interfere with our already winning lanes. So those are a few of the approaches we could take to help our team, one, stay ahead and push their advantage, and to help our team get to those team fights and skirmishes that we're going to be so strong in. So here, so this is a little bit of where I was thinking about the jungle priority chart. And so we come out of base and we go straight for Krugs, but I feel like a higher priority is getting some control in this area over here. So we have this pink ward down for Akali, but she's playing aggressive here. She's shoving up the wave into her turret. I feel like a higher priority is coming up here and providing her some support, almost counter ganking. We don't know where Olaf is. We know he's not coming down through here, but he could be coming around this backside. I think that is what ends up happening. It's not on you. She's playing very aggressive without the proper support. Oh yeah, so right there we saw Tristana.
Yeah.
But if I'm on the map, or if I'm looking at the mini map back here, or no, I went too far. So right here, you're heading to Krugs. Right here, how far up she is, I'm seeing that again, you're the only ones. You can't control what she's doing. You can only control what you're doing. So I would possibly be looking to start head this way and just provide her some extra support. Help her escape if she needs to. She does end up going down. Because these are the small things that are going to allow the enemy team to come back into the game. What's she end up making out here? She goes down. If you showed up there, could you have helped her? Possibly not. But those are potential opportunities to keep in mind throughout all your games. Okay, our mid laner's playing aggressive. I'm gonna go up there and try to make sure she's safe. Make sure Olaf isn't there to gank her. Yeah, that was a good flash there. Alright, so right here, we see Olaf up in the top lane. Echo just got chunked out. And we see someone hit the blue plant up here. So right here we go for wolves. And I think a higher priority would have been for either us to be up here with our team, helping them get turret, or B, being up here like kind of in this area, getting a ward down here, stealing away Raptor Camp, looking for a possible dive. We have ultimate up, MF and Lux ultimate down, but it's a possibility. So again, not that getting wolves is putting you behind, but there's a some potential for you to get more value by helping your team get a tower, or stealing away another camp and making sure everyone in mid is safe.
Yeah.
And, your team ends up being perfectly fine. You see Olaf up here, starting to head down, and they're still able to get mid turret. And so, because of that, like, power farming almost works out because your team is still able to build an advantage, and you're just continuously farming.
Yeah.
But I think it's a dangerous habit to get into. If you're playing against like a jungler and a mid laner who's better able to punish them for not having the proper support, that's when you're going to be getting punished for not capitalizing on the chances that you have to get these higher value plays.
Yeah.
So this is good. You get up top side. Holly is just snowballing out of control. So right here is a pretty big point. You're able to get down all the tier 1 turrets, and I want to pull up this video real quick. So I really like the way he looks at this. So what he's doing is he's drawing a line through every entrance of the map, and in between each entrance is kind of like a grid. And so by taking down these tier 1 turrets right here at this green line, you're now able to move farther into these zones and begin to control these new entrances. And so that's what taking down these turrets allows you to do. If you draw a line from so say when all these turrets up, the farthest you can go is that green line. You can't go past, or it's extremely dangerous or hard to control the areas past this green line while all these turrets are up. But once you knock down this bot turret first, like you did, you're now, okay, instead of this green line, there's this new line that goes from this tier 1 turret to this tier 2 turret. So you're able to control this whole area down here a lot easier. And so taking down all the tier 1 turrets, you're now able to control up to this orange line. And so that's when, so all the jungle camps are behind that orange line. So you're able to move up into Olaf's jungle, start denying vision, start denying him of camps, and at the minimum, you're taking away, okay, so if we look at the map like this, there's 3 lanes and then the jungle. So there's 4 places for the enemy team to get resources from, each wave, and then the camps from the jungle. If you take away all the jungle camps, you're taking away 25% of the enemy's resources. And if you do that for an extended period of time, you're going to eventually build a lead that's impossible for them to stop you from ending the game. And so at the minimum, you're doing that. But in, this elo, and especially with how strong your engage is, all you have to do is put a pink ward here, get someone to put a pink ward here, make sure there's no wards in here. Bait Baron, and the second they disrespect your vision control, just use Malphite ult or Jarvan ult to pick off that target, and then you can either rotate that into Baron, or you can rotate that into a turret, or just a kill, and then just continue to repeat that process.
Yeah.
Back up. So with this lead, that's what I'm looking to do. My next thought process is, okay, I'm gonna start stealing away Olaf's camps. I'm gonna start setting up vision control and denying vision. One of the biggest reasons I love having Green Smite is because it allows me to go. Not only does it give me wards, but then I'm also to upgrade to the red sweeper trinket, and I'm able to have the 2 wards from my Green Smite. I'm able to buy a vision control ward, and I'm able to clear vision as well. So it gives you a lot of power for vision control. And my go-to method for closing out any game is denying vision, baiting Baron, looking for picks. So right here, I'd back. Like, you do have a good pink ward setup on this side. But I always find red side to be easier to get picks on. But you know, that ward has served you has given you a lot of value. Like right here, we see Olaf head down through there. He's probably at Wolves, and he'll go blue buff. You know, he'll likely grab Gromp or head mid.
Yeah.
So now we have all tier 1 turrets down. We need to control vision, and we need to start contesting neutral objectives. We don't have Baron up to bait yet, but we can look to secure all the dragons, and we can look to secure Rift Herald. And we're not even necessarily looking to get the buffs themselves, but we're looking to bait the enemy team into coming to try and contest us. And then, just like Malphite did over here, just use his engage to get a pick, turn that into an objective. So right here, go for a turret dive. One thing I wanted to note is, like, while you're waiting right here, go ahead and just grab wolves, you know, leave a small one up. Turret dive doesn't go badly by any means. But one thing I did want to point out is, as you go for this, you have giant wave crashing bot, and you have top wave pushing in soon. So although it does end up being a 1 for 2, there was not much else to gain outside of the kills, so it was possible to hold off from the turret dive a little bit, and all you needed to do was come out, push these waves out, and then you can simply return back into the jungle, put down any wards that they cleared, clear any vision that they got, and set up that turret dive, and then you'll have the waves necessary to really capitalize on it. I still think they're able to get down mid turret here. Alright, get collapsed on. So, you know, and this, again, these are the small things that, like, say the game was a lot closer, maybe that play right there is all the enemy team needs to start snowballing the game back on their side. She picked up his kill on Echo. So getting another dragon.
Yeah, they steal that.
Let's see what's going on here. So kills Nami. This is a little weird by Malphite that he's pushing top turret. You know, he's not gonna break that turret anytime soon. But it's weird that the enemy was able to get through there. But they steal Ocean Drag and it's fortunate to pick up another kill. It's a nice flag and drag. So right here, this was a little interesting for me. So you take down Olaf, Nami's dead, Echo's dead, and you head over to blue buff. But I feel like if not taking mid turret with Misfortune, you could have come into Olaf's jungle, put down some wards here and here. Those are my two favorite spots. Grabbed Raptor Cam, grabbed Krugs. And then when Olaf spawns, the only thing he has to farm is Gromp, if that's up, and everything else is gone.
Yeah.
So here I think you solo Rift, which is nice. Misfortune was able to make it out alive. And so at this point, whenever I'm the jungler, even if I'm a mid laner, especially if I'm support, whenever someone gets like super ahead, I basically just follow them around. Like, I don't even care if I'm not getting gold. Like, I don't need any gold at this point. They're gonna carry me. I just want to make sure they have everything they need to carry me to victory.
No. Yeah, I'm here. I was just talking to my brother.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, at this point, she's super fed. So, you know, it wouldn't be solo queue if it didn't turn into Clown Fiesta at some point.
Yeah.
So right here, I'd say perfectly fine to be going to clear some camps. Sometimes you just need to reset, like, just let your teammates die off, let them come back from base, go farm some camps, give them some time to get back out on the map. So right here is when I would start like putting heavy emphasis on playing around MF. Any fight you set up, you want to be setting it up around MF. And so, you know, okay, so here we see 3 topside. So I would immediately start looking for mid.
Yeah.
Now they're all missing, back off. So, right here, you have to be extremely careful. You don't have... This actually happens twice. One at the very end. But just vision is like a prerequisite to making a play. And so, not always, because some players aren't good enough or they don't know how to, but you'll get punished for not having the proper vision control, which, forget how this one goes out here, but, let's see here. Yeah, so you get punished a little bit for not having the proper vision control. And so right here, I kind of want to talk about, so like you have your win conditions, your team win conditions, but then it's also important to understand like how you want to play out team fights. And so, like I was saying, you basically want to just follow MF around and make sure she has everything she needs to carry the game. You don't need to be looking to make the big flashy solo kill onto the backline. You just need to make sure MF's alive and she's able to deal damage. And so right here, MF got split off because of the Echo ult, or sorry, W. And so you look to make like a play on Tristana, when I think it would have been perfectly fine to, if not flag and drag him away, just try to make it back to MF and look for a fight around her. You know, if you made it right here and the enemy team still chased you, she's at least, she's actually in a perfect spot to lay down the biggest ultimate. So I think you just lose track of what your game plan is, slash like kind of like how you want to play out team fights, which is basically just peel for MF, set her up for a big ult. They're able to get it out. So right here, you should be looking to get straight back to your team and make sure they're able to get out of this perfectly fine. MF's playing pretty aggressive, which is okay because she's pretty far ahead. But you stop by and grab red buff, which you would, if you would have head up here immediately, just in case anything would have happened. That was a nice play right there. Yeah, so that's kind of, looking back at the urban conditions, that's what's going to be, that's how they're going to win. If they're able to shut down MF, you're not going to have the damage necessary to finish off Echo or Olaf.
Yeah.
Dragon, nice. You got some great dragons stacked. Alright, so right here, you go for Krugs, and I'm not sure, get 1,000, you're None, Phage, Sheen. So my initial thought is, it'd be better to just immediately back, because your main goal right now is just to protect MF, and so you want to minimize the time that you spend away from her. And you know, she's out here pushing mid, you had to take Krugs, and now you have to back, and you have to walk all the way out there. So just putting a higher emphasis on playing around MF and less on power farming. Because at this point, with MF being so far ahead, you could be looking to transition into pretty much full tank. Team match fun to help you power farm, but I don't think you needed to finish Trinity Force. You don't really need to be the one to kill, like be putting out damage. You just need to be setting up Lux, MF, and Akali to clean up the fight. But not a huge deal. MF goes super deep, and so these blah 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 blah. These are the situations you and your team are looking for. It would have been better if Akali were here, but these skirmishes slash team fights, although MF almost does get caught out, like that big ultimate, like all of that, that's exactly what you're looking for. And so with 2 dead, you could look for mid base turret right here.
Yeah.
If not Baron, because you killed the jungler. And you'll have plenty of damage with MF. So you have a lot of ultimates down here, so you probably, like, after you get turret down, you need to, like, let's see, so right here, it's like, alright, 9 seconds on Olaf, 6 on Echo. We all our ultimates are down, MF's low, we need to get this turret and we need to back out. And so you got a little greedy for the inhib, and they're able to pick up that return kill. Gets out, Malphite goes down. That was a little weird on Akali. She was kind of just split pushing.
She wasn't even split pushing. She was like top
Yeah,
side.
she was just farming. She's just walking around.
Like, I know I did lots of mistakes, but at the end, we kinda lost because of Akali.
Yeah, we'll look at that. So now this is a pretty dangerous situation. Once Akali goes down there, like, your last option is the face check, which is not a good option. So after Lux goes down, you're like, oh, okay, they're on Baron. You have to approach this situation very carefully. MF doesn't have blue trinket, which she probably should at this point.
Here, in my opinion, what we could have done better is push both sides. Like, they're far away, they're taking Baron, and we got two free inhibitors to take.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you could definitely. I don't know if you'd be able to take them. You could definitely look to pressure them. Yeah, so you get a ward down. I think you check the next push with your E, which is a good idea. Alright, so yeah, you played that well, got a little dangerous, and that's just another big wombo combo right there.
yeah.
And so that was really good. A little dangerous, but that's how powerful your team's wombo combo is. And I like that you went over, and then that ult back to help peel for MF is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Any fight where MF is alive is a one fight. That was a nice E over. Yeah, see, she just does an immense amount of damage.
Yeah, she does lots of damage.
And right here, don't worry about Nami, just go straight to Baron.
Yeah.
You know, this is 7-8 seconds. Now you're too low to tank it. Yeah, just too much for Nami. You could have easily grabbed inhibitor.
Yeah, I know, like,
Yeah, so right
being
here.
greedy for kills.
Yeah, that's the standard trap. So right here, you backed, and I was wondering, you know, I don't know if this, I can't say. I put a note down that I wonder if you shouldn't have backed here, and looked to just stay on the skirmish of the fight and provide some form of knockup for MF. Looking at it now, I think it was fine to back. It's one of those situations where it's like, you can't control your team, they're overstaying. Honestly, I don't know though, because how it turned out, like, if you gave your life to knock up and maybe keep Tristan alive, but it was time to back off anyways. Almost turn it around, at least pick up some kills on their way out. Ends up being a 3 for 3, so not bad. That's how far ahead you are. That's for a little bit to my next note. Alright, so finally have your team all together. Honestly, after seeing you go into that Echo, it was close. But now that means you don't have your ultimate, like, right in these situations. Which is where your team's really going to shine. Malphite has his, so that's okay. Right here, all you should have in your mind is you're looking for a pick onto really Jax or Nami or Olaf. So when you can't jump away, teleport out. And you gotta remember that any fight, your only goal is to, besides initiation, is to just peel for misfortune.
Yeah.
So I like going in right here. Luckily MF was strong enough to fight Echo on her own, but by going in here, you're basically peeling off these four, and you at least stall long enough for MF to finish off Echo, and then she's able to clean up the rest of the fight. I do think that letting a Kali go down here, if you just stayed back and waited for Echo and helped MF finish off Echo, the fight still would have gone okay, and you possibly would have come out alive as well.
Yeah.
But it comes out fine. I think your team pick up 2 inhibitors here. Yeah, so right here, I think they overstay a little bit to try and close out the game. I think this is where my heart was broken. Yeah, like, I don't know, if they would have stayed and, like, focused everything on the turrets, because, like, it gets so low. Like, right here, Lux goes up here, and she starts dicking around, trying to shoot Nami. Like, if she just would have been attacking this whole time, I don't know, like, I forget how low it goes, but it gets super low.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that's like 8 more auto attacks.
Exactly, like, I went crazy at the end, guys.
Yeah. Also could have backed off and come back at any point. You had 2 inhibitors down, 10k goal lead. All you need to do now is take it slow, look for the right fight, bait around Baron. Yeah, especially, these are the 2 best inhibitors to have down for closing out the game. Why is that going off right now? Because it's gonna, the ship mage should be coming in and drag someone as far away from Baron as possible. So now, all you need to do is bait around Baron and either look for a team fight or just take it if they don't come. So let's go back a little bit. Alright, so right here, you already have 2 mountain drags, and you have 2 inhibitors down. The 3rd dragon isn't gonna add a whole lot. Or is that your 2nd drag in the
Yeah,
was
it was
what?
the second mountain
Okay.
bracket,
Um,
and it wasn't really necessary because we already pushed everything. Like
yeah, that's
I didn't,
exactly what I put
I
down.
also didn't, I also didn't want them to take it. So.
Um, I said there's just because you have two inhibitors down, there's just such a higher priority on Baron, and you already have, yeah, both Nexus turrets down. Um, it's super risky to give up. Like, if I was gonna go for Baron here, at the minimum, sorry, if I was gonna go for Dragon here, at the minimum I would get Scuttle Crab and like a few wards set up around Baron, so so I don't have to face check if I see them head over in that area. Um, and I think what happens is they do end up going for Baron. So
I mean, no,
right there, I'm off Dragon, and
them going. Yeah,
I'm
I could have
running to
finished the
Baron.
game right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even, not even, like, you don't need to go for like a backdoor here. Like, the second you saw them all in this area, at this point, after we had not gotten any vision, we need to start heading over this way immediately. And at this point now, with Lux face checking and going down, you almost have to give up Baron here. It's, especially with MF and Akali not coming to follow you up.
Like at least Akali could have finished it.
Yes, if MF and Akali would have shown up, it might have gone a little different. But I also think it would have been perfectly fine to just go ahead and give that up. You know, you have two inhibitors down. It's going to slow out the game, yes. But you don't need to rush anything when you're at this point. You just need to take it slow and you can close it out.
But like I noticed, I could have finished the game that time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you could. Because it already healed up a lot. You did have Shiny Force, Titanic, so you did have some AD. But if they were able to focus down Baron completely, they would have had the speeded up backs to get back.
Yeah, I know.
A long way to go. It was possible.
It was me and Akali could have went like to push at least to finish the game.
Yeah, it was possible, but again, I don't even think you needed that. Like, you still can win the game right here. You're still in a perfectly fine position to win the game. You just need to understand that they have Baron and play appropriately. You know, give them the respect. Pick on Echo. I think you guys go for the end here. So what I said is, you don't need to rush this. It was a 1-for-1 trade. MF is super low. Let her, you have 45 seconds on Echo. Let her back, come back, you basically wasted a minute of their Baron buff. Come back, set up vision control. Like, after getting a kill, setting up vision control, especially if you want to fight deep in enemy territory and you're able to leave wards all throughout their jungle, that's a big advantage because now it's that much easier to set up the next play. So backing off right there, littering their jungle with wards, I think is a huge win.
Yeah.
And this is just a little too aggressive with MF being that low, like your main carry. Yeah, I think pressuring them right here is fine, but being careful about how deep you go. You know, look at Akali's health too. Like, you gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And like, it's still super close.
We could have finished the game a lot sooner.
What happens here? Go for the second in, and it's just like Echo's back up now. MF was already low. Echo's really good at sticking the targets. Akali and Malphite just need to leave at that point. So go down. Game's still not over. Like, you're still in a perfectly fine position to come back and win this game. And so, you know, now both inhibitors up. You don't have any wards, enemy jungle, so we kind of have to start from scratch here. Going for Raptors is fine. You need to wait for your team to get up. Yeah, a minute 50 on drag. Baron buff is up for another. Actually down on most. Or one person might still have it.
This is actually where we lose the game.
Yep. So right here, before you can push up, this is going back to that vision control. Like, okay, so MF gets a ward, blue trinket over here. You know now that you're safe from this flank. You can likely push up this wave as long as you have. You probably want your whole team to be here just in case they collapse on you. But you really need to take your time here and work up your vision line before you just shove down mid. Kind of turns into like a little bit of an ARAM here.
Yeah.
You kind of just try to shove down mid and back up to their base, and you don't really have the proper vision on either side. You really need to like right now, top's pushing in, bot's pushing in. You need to get these side lanes pushing, and once you see like, okay, you get top pushing, you see Jax up here, you know you're a lot safer to then go get vision control up here. But right now, they don't have to do anything. They can simply be mid and protect against your push.
Like what I thought of right now is like at that moment, we could have won a team fight and then finished the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then Akali went top to defend the first turret. I don't know why. And I don't know if it's me or the enemy team engaged on us, and we lost the team fight.
We'll look at that. So I think going topside is perfectly fine right here. You need to consider right now, like, you gave them, you had Baron buff, you gave over a bunch of kills. It's getting later into the game. You know, you look at items. Echo is full build. Olaf's one item from full build. Nami's close to full build. Tristana's full build. Like, gold doesn't really matter anymore. It's now a 5-on-5, and the next team fight is going to decide the game.
Yeah.
You know, MF being 21-7 doesn't really mean anything. Like, she's going to be a strong AD carry, but she's not super ahead. Tristana is just as strong. And so, you just need, it's important to, so you could look for a team fight, but then it's honestly, it's more of like a 50-50. When you still have the potential, go back to your original win conditions. You have super strong engage and you have a super strong wombo combo. Get the vision control that you need, look for the right team fight, and then take advantage of that. Tend to your side lanes, like remove some pressure, put some pressure on Jax to answer one of these side lanes, and then while he's off on his own, you have the engage to look for a 5v4 fight while he's off split pushing. And so the problem comes that we have a ward here, but we have no vision on this side.
Like, I knew here, like, if we lose this fight,
absolutely.
It's done.
Especially because Akali's, once you see Akali hitting topside, you can't go past. You have to play around these two wards you have. Because they don't have strong engage, but they have the potential to dive onto your backline with Olaf.
What bothered me here is like Misfortune and Lux are far, like they're far ahead, and like I'm behind. I'm
Yep,
still
absolutely.
behind him.
Um,
I couldn't do anything here.
yeah, where you are is perfectly fine. You need to be spam pinging them back or typing in chat like, hey, we have to let's get our side lanes going. Um, it's right here. That's once MF steps up right there. Actually, no, she keeps going right there. Once Jack shows up from this vision, and so this is a big part. That I wanted to talk about, like team win conditions. Hey, looking back, you need to be doing everything you can to keep MF alive. And goes in on MF. And right there, you dragonfly so far away from her. Not that even you would be able to save her. This is just the enemy team's win conditions. They have so much ability to jump on to your backline and stick to her.
Yeah, I should have stuck to her too. Like, I went inside.
Yeah, the second Malphite saw Jax, right there, Malphite needed to go in immediately. You needed to ult. My thought was, if you ulted Jax right there and created some terrain, you possibly could have given MF some time to get out. If Malphite went in sooner right there. But really, it was already a bad position when MF had stepped up and Jax had got onto MF, and you kind of disrespected this lack of vision over here. It was was it wrong for Akali to go topside? Possibly. Would have been perfectly fine to go tend to your side lanes and take it a lot slower. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
But sometime in solo queue, you don't always, the right macro play is not necessarily the right play in solo queue. For this situation, if Akali was here, you're able to make MF survive a little longer. She's able to clean up some of these kills. It could have gone differently.
This game hurts.
Yeah, no, it hurt me reviewing it. I played a game earlier where we actually could have killed the Nexus, and we were trolling and found dove, and they all came back and won anyways. It hurts. It hurts. It makes you stronger though. It makes you stronger as a person. But I think, so it did come down to that fight, but I think there were times, a lot of times throughout the game where, so I'll send you my notes shortly after we finish this, of all the notes I took, through the VOD, my thoughts on the team comps and win conditions, and then my 3 main points, which I put as jungle priority chart. I said there were a few times where you chose to farm a camp in jungle, but there were other options available to you that would have given you and your team greater value. And if you had capitalized on some of those opportunities, it was possible the game took a different path than it did. Second one was a vision control. I thought there were a few times you could have bought an extra pink ward. I put a note that you could have possibly upgraded the sweeper trinket, but because you didn't have green smite, having the yellow trinkets was still beneficial. But I said you didn't really get too much value out of your red smite. If you had went green smite here, I feel like you would have gotten a lot more value out of having green smite, vision control ward.
And after hearing you talk about it, I can see I can look behind and see I never had the red smite, never was that good with me. So the green smite is almost always better.
If you in like competitive, they only buy green smite because the vision is so important at the professional level.
Yeah.
You know, like if you take like red smite, you know, it's perfectly fine to take red smite on Jarvan, but just your play
Yeah.
style would have needed to
I don't know
adapt.
how to use it. Like red smite, blue smite. It's like it's kind of hard. I
Yeah,
don't understand how to use it. So like the green smite is easier to use.
yeah,
Just
you know,
warm.
it's so easy to, as long as you know have the right understanding of where you want to put vision and where the vision will provide you value. You know, you just drop that ward down, and then it also allows you to upgrade to the sweeper trinket, so you can also deny vision.
Yeah.
But like with the red smite, you know, there was times here when I was talking about like being a battle ward, like going into Olaf's jungle, kind of pressuring him out of his own jungle. That's when like the red smite could be used, but you could also, you know, walk into Olaf's jungle and just drop a ward and
Yeah.
use that to help support your team. So that was the second thing. And the third thing was just having a stronger understanding of your team's win conditions as well as your team fight win conditions, and being able to understand how those change and being able to like update those as the game goes on.
Yeah.
I feel like there are just a few times where you like kind of it was a mix of the jungle priority chart and your win conditions, where you went for one option which wasn't necessarily wrong, but it just didn't provide you and your team the biggest value. And
Yeah.
having changed a few of those situations and those decisions might have changed how the game played out. Again, you never know, and there is some like kind of luck and RNG to League, but I think these three areas are the biggest areas that you can look into that will provide you the biggest biggest noticeable difference in your games if you put the time into these three areas.
Yeah, I could have done lots of things different that could have won us the game. Like me, myself.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Guess it,
Not to say that like there were a lot of things that your teammates
like
did.
it proves that how much I can impact the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm 20% of the team, so it's
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to think about it. And you know, sometimes like depending on how the decisions you make and how well you play, like you can really increase that 20% to making it feel like to the enemy team that your team has 160% and you're bringing an extra 60% to your team.
yeah.
Yeah, so I have that in my notes, and then a bunch of timestamps of thoughts I had throughout while I was watching the game. Things, small, minor things you could have done differently, some macro stuff, and I'll provide a ton of resources that I was thinking about as I watched this game. The jungle priority chart one, the grid one, I have a few others in mind that I will link to as well. And then I also recorded this session, so I'll send that to you as well. If you want to go back and look at something or hear something we talked about, I'll send that to you as well shortly after.
Yeah.
Got the Super Bowl on in a little bit, so I might swing down and watch that, and then I'll finish up this doc and I'll send it to you. But do you have any other questions or anything I can elaborate on?
Just a second. I think I had some questions
Okay.
on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't find my phone.
Yeah, no rush.
I like had a question about how can I do my own VOD reviews. But
Okay. Yeah, so there's actually a lot of mixed opinions on doing your own VOD reviews. Some people say it's helpful. Some people, like LS and Don Quap, say there's not too much, or it can be kind of counterproductive to do your own VODs because it's hard for you to see what you did wrong. And it's the phenomenon where you may have done something right. So like, you know, in League, there's some things that's like, okay, this play had a chance of an 80% chance of going right, and so technically that's the right play, but because some things went wrong, it happened to be the 20% time that play wouldn't work, and so you can lead yourself to thinking that the play you made was wrong, when really 80% of the time that was the right play. So that can be one of the dangers of doing your own VODs, as well as I think of an Einstein quote where it's hard to solve a problem at the same level of thinking that you created it at. So it can be hard to see like mistakes that you aren't aware of. It can be hard to suddenly become aware of them unless you had some new knowledge. But if you do your own VODs, I recommend doing sort of like a T-chart. And on one column you can have things you thought you did well, and then on the right, areas, things that went wrong, or areas that you can improve in, and look for more of, because you're not gonna.
I actually would rather like watch better players replays.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not
absolutely.
that much in like watching replays. But
yeah,
like,
I recommend that highly.
If I want to improve, I have to watch replays to learn from the ones who are better than me.
Yeah, imitation is a lot of pros like recommend like imitating like the pros that people who are already the best at what you're trying to do, imitate them. Is sometimes the best way to learn and improve. I would recommend going into it with a general idea of what you're looking for. Make sure, don't go into the game and just watch it and, like, okay, I want to improve, and then watch the game and just like try to take everything in. Like, go in mind.
Just try to understand what they did and why they did it.
Yeah, don't try to do that necessarily. Go in with like, okay, what are the things he does when he's ahead? Okay, so he gets a lead, you can make some small notes on what he did to get ahead, but then really hone in on the pathing he took, the things he prioritized. Okay, why did he go bot side instead of mid? What side of the map did he play on? And try to focus in on that area and make some notes on that. And then take that and spend some time applying it into your game. Don't get stuck down by like information overload. Make sure you are going fine. So go in with an area. So like take one of the areas we talked about today, like the jungle priority chart. Okay, go into a game. What are the things that Peanut prioritizes? Okay, why isn't he power farming over here? Okay, how does he know it was safe to go for a jungle invade here? How did he see this counter gank coming? And see what things he prioritizes, and then take that and spend some time implementing it into your own game. before you move on to like, looking at vision control. Make sure you are spending some time learning, and then you're going in and experimenting and trying to figure out how you can apply it into your own game, and not getting stuck up in trying to pick up too much information at once. Yeah, I would say definitely have put down some notes, just little bullet points, things that come to mind, why he did this over that, and just really try to figure out like what his thought process is. Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is just make sure you're like, ahead of time of what you're looking for, and that will help you get more value out of watching like a pro VOD. Maybe start off like with one VOD and just kind of get like a general feel of how he plays the game, how he plays the champion, and then maybe going back and watching the same VOD with a smaller focus on one particular area of a skill that he does, how he performs, what kind of vision control does he provide his team, something like that.
Like I have like another question about.
Yeah, please.
Like it's kinda about how to balance like my League of Legends and like my life, like studying and friends.
Yeah.
Like how much like ranked games do you think I need to play a day, like to climb?
I'd say it's kind of different for each person, but I would say the most important thing is to make sure that there's balance overall in your life. A lot of people who try to improve kind of, we all have a variety of roles that are important to us, like school, we're a student, we're a part of a family, we're a part of a friend group, we have, we're an employee, we have our health. And it's important to have a balance between all of those roles. And sometimes when people...
I remember that from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Absolutely. So it's no good to sacrifice these other roles for one particular role. So I'd say that's the most important thing. You have to, it's almost going to be more detrimental to like, okay, you're suddenly staying up all night to like get in one more ranked game. That's not worth it in the long run. I would say, as long as if you use each game wisely and you're going in with the right mindset, you have a plan, you have goals, what you're going to practice, how you're going to practice it, you don't need a lot of time. It's more about how you use your time than how much time you're putting in. And, you don't even necessarily have. It's not like you have to play every day. It's just how you use that time. So I won't say a specific like amount. I would say it's more important to put time into learning how you can spend your time more efficiently and like practice better. I say put a lot of time into experimenting how you practice. Like, okay, for like a week, you're gonna like keep a spreadsheet of after every game, you're gonna write down something you did well, an area you can improve on, an area you need to learn more about. And you do that for a week. You judge your improvement. You can use, you could use like your LP, or you could just use your personal opinion on it, or you could get some, feedback from myself or anyone, another friend. and then keep the things from that practice schedule that you liked. You know, okay, what if I tried instead of a spreadsheet, I'm gonna record my games and I'm gonna do like a mini VOD review over each game, you know, something like that. And you're just kind of experimenting to find what sort of practice schedule, practice routine works best for you. I think that's the important part. And just, you know, always looking to, of course you can always look to improve in the game, but I think you can also improve in your practice. And just kind of spending your time balanced between everything else and then your practice, balancing between playing games, figuring out how you can practice better, continuing to learn, watching others, talking to others, and you know, I don't have a doubt that with all those things, like if you continually work to improve, you'll absolutely climb. And I'd look into, I'll link these in the video of the learning zone, or learning zone versus like performance zone, understanding the difference between those, making sure you're not always, you know, because you go into a ranked game and you're looking to play the best that you can play. You aren't looking to try out a new gank path, or you're not looking to try out a new build. You know, you're looking to perform, and it's important to take time away from that. For me, like, I can't ever be in the learning zone, where a place where I'm allowing myself to experiment and try new things and make mistakes in a ranked game. I have to go play a normals game if I want to do that. So making sure you're spending an equal amount of time in both of those, and then just having a growth mindset, like understanding that with the right work you can improve, and that you're not stuck, that your current skill level is not locked, and I'll link to some great videos talking about those as well.
So like learning in normal games is fine, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, like I was saying, like when I'm playing a ranked game, when I make a mistake, I'm typically frustrated. Maybe not frustrated is too strong of a word, but I would much rather not make a mistake in a ranked game. And so it actually took me some time to develop, like, okay, I'm going to go into a normals game, and I'm just going to go, like, I noticed I was playing mid, and I noticed I was losing lane a lot, so I was just going to go into a normals game, and I was just going to play, like, as aggressive as I possibly could. Like, I had no idea what I was going to do, or, like, I wasn't thinking everything through. Like, I was just seeing, like, what my limits were, and I was just experimenting with what I could get away with. And of course I immediately fed, like I was like 0-3, but you know, I did that for a few games, and suddenly I started to get a hang of, I was playing Echo at the time, and I started like figuring out some combos, figuring out when I could go in, when I should look for a trade. And then I took that knowledge to a ranked game after I had played maybe 5 or 6 games, and practiced this new skill. And then I went to a ranked game and looked to perform to the best of my ability, and there was a lot more benefit from that than spending that time making mistakes, experimenting. You know, that's the biggest thing is like, have you heard of the 10,000 hour rule?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are kind of turning away from that.
It's like 10,000 experiment rule.
Yeah.
I saw this post. Yeah.
There's that one as well, and then
I found it because of your on your website. I think. I don't know.
Sweet. There's a great book called Peak by Anders Ericsson. And he's kind of the founder of this idea of deliberate practice. It's a great read. Actually, I don't know if you've ever used like Audible. If you sign up for like a free trial, you can get like this book for free and listen to it. I'll link to that as well.
I'll try that. Yeah.
But he talks about the 10,000 hour rule as well, and how it's not necessarily like the hard truth, but how just like constantly experimenting and looking to improve, like there's no necessary time limit to suddenly becoming a master. It's an endless and continuous process of trying something new, analyzing the data, reevaluating your hypothesis based on that data, and then experimenting again with your new hypothesis. So it's like, okay, what if I did this? What if I started red buff instead of blue buff? Okay, try it, see how it goes. Okay, it worked in this situation, but it did not work in this situation. What if I went red buff Raptors, then did this, and then you experiment with that. It's just a continuous process of that, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, like from time to time I come to like focusing on like my friends who actually haven't been playing games, this game like longer than me, are actually platinum, and I'm still gold. I've been playing for almost 5 years, and it just bothers me that maybe because I haven't played ranked games more than them, they played more than me or something.
No, I would actually.
At the beginning, I used to play the game only for fun. Actually, this is probably the first season that I want to get into ranked for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how, like, to stop focusing on other people and only focus on myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lame quote, but it's funny that you mentioned that, because I saw this quote the other day. It's just it's kind of lame, but it's talking about how a flower doesn't compare itself to other flowers, it just blooms. And I thought that was pretty relevant to some things that I was going through. It's I get reminded of it so many times. It's just like everyone has their own path, everyone has their own journey. It's so impossible to compare one person's journey to another. You really, it's not easy, but you have to. It takes a different kind of practice, a different kind of continuous practice of, and that's something I think we work on our whole lives, is like working to focus more on ourselves, not let other people's opinions, what other people are doing or going through, affect us. And definitely not something easy. But I think some of that comes through, celebrating your own victories a little bit more, like showing yourself a little more gratitude, a little more compassion. Like, say you climb up from gold 4 to gold 3, like, letting yourself, celebrating that, okay, who cares your friend's gold 1, like, you just completed something, you have clearly improved, and allowing yourself to be, to see that your hard work has paid off, and to be, to feel some gratitude for that. I think
I'd probably make a party if I get gold 3. No, actually, I've been stuck in gold 4 for a long time. I don't think I ever passed like gold 4. Like, I don't remember. Maybe I passed to gold 3 and then dropped down to gold 4 again.
Okay.
Like, if I get out of gold 4 right now, it's like it's the most thing that I want to do in League of Legends because I've been stuck in Gold 4 for a long time. I just want to get out of it.
I absolutely understand. Dude, I have no doubt in my mind, like, have you gone through your placements yet?
Yeah.
What'd you end up?
I'm Gold 4.
Okay.
I won 7 games and lost 3, I think. I was expecting more because I was playing with with a friend who was platinum, and I had a high MMR because I played with him. I thought they would place me like in Gold 2 or Gold 1.
Yeah.
Then I got placed in Gold 4, and that bothered me. But like I say, it's okay. League system it's kind of weird to understand.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
is
get
hard.
out of Gold. Maybe it's for the better to
Yeah,
like
absolutely. It's the true
learn
challenge.
to get out of just to get out of Guild 4.
Yeah, I was talking to someone today. It honestly, like, your placement games do not really like decide what rank you're gonna go. It's more based on what rank you were last season, and then a tiny bit of like your MMR. So like if you ended Gold 4, even though if your MMR was like Plat 5, you'd probably still get put like at the maximum. Like if you went 10-0 in your placements, you might get placed Gold 3. That's from what I can tell. Like,
Yeah.
and especially because like the highest you can get placed is Plat 1. So like my brother who was he was Plat 2. He went like 7-3 in his placements, and he got placed Gold 1. So like it's to end up where you were is actually good. Like typically you're gonna end up, especially your Plat, like you're gonna end up lower.
It's actually like I have a friend who was Platinum 4, I think, and after finishing his placement matches, he was placed Silver 3 or something.
Silver 3, oh my god.
Now he's Gold 1. Of course.
Jeez, I would have been livid. I have a hard time seeing how that he must have done awful in his placements.
I don't know.
Because that's the thing they're protecting against. Like, they're not letting your placements decide where you go. Because then people who are Plat 4 end up in Silver 3. You know, so like, you basically end up within like 2 to 3 ranks of where you ended up. So that's so weird. I wonder how
like first time I played rank, I was placed in Silver 4, so
that's pretty good, dude. Getting placed for your first placements, getting anywhere out of bronze is amazing.
it's like I never was like a rage quitter or like a flamer or something. And they talk all the time like about bronze, that they're all flamers and rage quitters.
You'll find flamers in every single rank.
Yeah, I know.
They're everywhere. You'll never escape them. But they'll never escape the mute button.
I always mute my team, like almost every game.
I have all chat turned off, which I love. But I don't mute my whole team immediately. But the second, if someone's talking too much, I mute them. Or if someone's obviously like toxic, I'll mute them immediately. It's better for both of us.
Yeah.
So you said you're heading back up to, heading back over to Germany this end of this week.
Yeah, like Saturday.
Okay. Did you ever get the?
It's actually better to play ranked games there. It's kinda pressure here. I played a ranked game today. This is the first ranked solo game I played since I came back here.
Okay.
I came back to my home, and I was playing Warwick. I actually lost. We actually lost the game kinda because of me, because I played really bad and I had some lag. I didn't test the ping before I played.
Yeah.
I was playing on Wi-Fi, so
God.
That was bad. I lagged a lot.
Did you ever get the internet situation fixed back up at your new place in Germany?
Yeah, became better. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you said it was what? It was up at like 160.
Yeah, I at first I played in my friend's room because we we hang out almost all the time together, and then I tested the internet back in my room and it was fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it is weird.
They still gave me like a really bad room. The chair is broken and
Oh my God.
no lights in the bathroom. I told them actually, they say they would come to fix it. Like,
Yeah, you'll see
don't
it when
know.
you believe, or you'll believe it when you see it.
if they don't fix it, I'm gonna go back to them and tell them change the room if you're not gonna come to fix it.
Absolutely.
I was because at first they put me in a double room, and because they didn't have other rooms to put me in, so they put me in a double room, and they almost never give the double room to anyone. So I had it, and it was perfect. Everything was perfect.
And then they just had to go and move you.
Yeah, they had to move me because I was alone in the double room. It's fine. I actually need to focus on my studies too. It's because I'm behind in class. So. Yeah.
Yeah, being behind class never feels good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I hate myself because I'm behind.
Yeah.
I could do much better, and I'm wasting my time like that. But I'll try. I want to balance. Like, if I want to improve at League of Legends and like, study, go to school, hang out with my best friend. Like, I need to balance all that.
Yeah, it can be tough, but it can definitely be done.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do all that when I go back to Germany.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing. Have a nice break and hang out with the fam and go back and buckle down and try to get everything in control.
Yeah. I need to control everything. Like I just found out how hard can life be when you have to be independent on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I just need to get used to it. Like, it's life.
Yeah,
If you
it is. Yeah, take some time to adapt, and take some practice.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can't learn.
Yeah.
Alright, man, well, I think I'm gonna swing downstairs here. Everyone, I think Super Bowl just came on. Everyone's yelling down there. I'm gonna go grab some dinner. But I'm glad we were able to finally link up and go over this VOD. Definitely don't hesitate. You come across like something happens in a game, you just can't quite figure out what went wrong. Have any more questions? Please do not hesitate. Hit me up on Discord.
Yeah.
And yeah, feel free to, always hit me up, ask me anything. Wish you were in NA so we could grab some games. I was like, could I make an EU account? We'll have to see if I can do that sometime.
I also have an account in EOS, so
Okay.
it's still level 30, and I only played like 2 matches or 3 matches in my replacement. So I don't know. If you make an EOS account, I have an EOS account too.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can see if the ping is something that I can work with.
Yeah.
Alright, man. Well, it's pretty late over there, isn't it?
It's 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh. Get some sleep, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep now.
Sweet. Alright. Sorry for keeping you up so late. Thanks for meeting up and doing this
It's
VOD
okay,
review. And
Yeah.
I will...
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure. I'll shoot you probably either a message in Discord, or I'm not sure if I had. Oh yeah, I should have your email. So I might shoot you an email in the morning with all my notes and a few files and some resources, and
Yeah.
we can talk from there.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, man. Have a good night over there. All right, talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.